Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Breaks through from deep. Ahead of the pack is Katie Shedrick. Finds Hunter. The ball gets whipped around. Brock Cunningham. That's what makes him real good.
I was so proud of the effort. They had 62, but really, they had 55 points. We had the foul at the end. When you hold a team to 55 points, that means your players gave you an effort that was worthy of a W. And we as a staff got to do a better job giving them more help.
Shed, hesitation dribble, kicks it out. Wilson, left corner, three. Got it! Malik Wilson hits the left corner three to put the Cougars up by 11 with 2:53 to play.
We're not going to name 5 starters right out of the gate. There's a lot of options for us. That's been the message to these guys from the end of last year through the offseason is like, we're going to try to improve, whether that's internal or external.
I don't know that it is sustainable to do what they did in this postseason. They've got to go get weapons, and Mike Evans should be absolutely at the top of their list.
Jeff, what would not be sustainable in that scenario is their salary cap. They got to take care of Chris Jones, L'Jarius Sneed. Oh, by the way, their left tackle, Donovan Smith.
I would rather Mike Evans than Chris Jones.
Listen, I think there's a chance Russell Wilson is out of football. Like, I'm not sure that there's definitely a landing spot for him. He's older. I think that it's fair to say that his game is diminished.
And in what world would a guy that has played the way he played last year not have a place in the league? He is a starting quarterback in this league. He may not be a starter for the next 5 years for the same team, but currently he is a starting quarterback in the league.
Checkered flag is in the air, and William Byron has won the Daytona 500. Byron out front when it mattered the most. The winner of the 66th running of the Daytona 500 is William Byron.
And welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Welcome in. It's a Tuesday Sports Day show as we navigate through the world of sports here on the radio. Joining us on the show today is Aaron Clark and Mike Hesher. Let's get to our sounds of the past. Oh, Mike Corson slid in. How you doing, Michael?
A little snake over here.
All right, on the show today, Cole Reif will be in. And, you know, do you ever get confused when there's a holiday and you come back to work on Tuesday and then you think, see, I've been confused because the other way. Because some people get, like, Veterans Day and let's see, President's Day off. So I was confused on 2 issues. One, I expected Brandon Anderson to be in here on the AM Great Ben show. Because it's Monday, right? You got to count it. City council meeting. No, they have it tonight because they had President's Day, so he'll be in tomorrow, okay? The other one was I just kept checking and checking and checking to see when the NJCAA basketball poll would come out. And then I found, oh, yeah. They don't even put a poll out on President's Day.
They could do that from their computer at home.
Anyway, and then I figured, well, probably an easier way to do it because it still isn't out. I haven't seen it in the last 15 minutes. South Plains, Texas didn't lose, so Barton's still going to be ranked number 2. So I probably could have done that exercise yesterday, but anyway, I've been confused. Okay, also, we'll talk to Cole about that. Cougars get the week off right now. We'll ask Cole on what he thinks they need to do to keep that edge, as Jeremy Combs says. Voice the Wildcats, Wyatt Thompson. I'll talk about K-State's 62-56 loss at Texas last night. We'll talk a little bit about basketball. We'll talk about the flavor of the new league. We had a bunch of new teams this year. What's it going to be like next year? What's he think about it? Should we go to divisions in football? I don't know. We'll have that conversation coming up here today. Some sports headlines to tell you about, but sounds the past 24 hours, starting with that Texas game. K-State coming up short last night. The call on ESPN. Rob Cunningham hits a three-pointer in the first half. Texas beats K-State 62-56. Jerome Tang says, we lost, but I like the effort of the boys. Well, Cats 15-11, certainly on the bubble right now, and they've got some tough road games coming up as well. They will be at home against 25th-ranked BYU Saturday in Bramlage. Houston's finding their sea legs. Iowa State have been playing very well. They battled it out last night in Houston. The call on Learfield. Malik Wilson hits a three-pointer, assisted by Jamal Shedd in the second half. Houston beats Iowa State 73-65. That was a battle between number 2 and number 6 in the country.
Big 12's got some teams.
It's baseball season, Aaron.
It sure is.
Matt Quatrero talking about the improvement that he's seen. So the improvement's going to be the main focus. 56 and 106 last year. That would be a good goal to have. I like their pitching staff. It's going to be better. At least they got some, as they call them, Hesh innings eaters, right?
Some names you might recognize helps, yes.
Michael Wacha. Yeah,
Seth Lugo.
Seth Lugo, yes. Yeah. You know how Seth Lugo came to the Royals?
I heard this yesterday I heard it this morning actually on a podcast. Best friends with Will Smith, and because they have kids. Is that what you heard?
Yeah, they know each other.
Yeah.
So, and no one on the Royals has kids, so he calls Seth Lugo up and say, hey, the American League Central stinks.
So come to Kansas City.
Come to Kansas City. We can be on this team. Maybe we can win the thing, and our wives and kids can kind of bond while we're out on the road bonding.
Like I said, it's just one less thing to worry about when you move there. You already know a good school to send him to. He's got that kind of handled. It's easy work.
Okay, so the Royals kick off their spring training games against the Rangers this Friday. We'll have our first broadcast on the 10th of March. Spring training, limited spring training schedule. We'll give you a little baseball coming up on March 10th. Who's got the number 3 pick in the NFL draft upcoming?
The 3rd is the Patriots.
Okay. How many balls does it take in baseball to get a free pass?
4.
Okay. How many strikeouts?
3.
Okay. All right. Okay. We're working on you. We're going.
Come on, those are softball questions. They give them something difficult. Jeez.
Who has the first pick in the NFL draft? Do you want to talk about that one?
No, we're talking about baseball. I just want to. We're transitioning here, okay?
We're
trying to wean you off the football bottle right now. Although we're going to go
just
get
NFL
right back
draft
into
season.
it. It is not. It's baseball season. NFL draft when is June?
It's in April.
Oh my God, I forgot. Okay, I didn't have it circled on my calendar.
When does regular season baseball kick off?
March 28th.
It's pretty close. March 28th, pretty close to April, just saying.
We will give you one day where you can go in the NFL draft. It'll just be you and Hesh in here.
Oh, well, that'll be fun.
You'll run the camera. Okay. You just gab for an hour on the NFL draft.
Perfect.
Okay.
It'll be a dream.
Okay. Other sounds, Jeff Darlington, Mike Tannenbaum, ESPN NFL reporters. Jeff Darlington would rather have Tampa receiver Mike Evans than Chris Jones. Chiefs going to have to sign somebody, but I don't think I could go with that. But I don't know if the Chiefs are going to be able to sign Chris Jones. Here we are again.
Yeah, it'd be...
Give him another one-year deal. He's made plenty of money last year.
See if he wants to go that route. Something to keep in mind, I don't think he has worked into his... Did they work in a no franchise tag?
Oh, they could tag him again.
It'd be pretty pricey at this point, just coming off of the back-to-back tags. But if they want to keep him around for sure, they absolutely could. I just think it'd be a little weird for them to decide they didn't want to invest a bunch of money in Tyreek Hill at the wide receiver position and then turn around 2 years later and invest it in Mike Evans, a guy who's not any younger. It'd be a weird use of funds from a GM that we've seen kind of be structured with his plan.
Well, Chris Jones coming off, I think that is his best season he's ever had as a Kansas City Chief.
Especially when he would actually kind of turn it on there, but he
kind of turned it on all year. He had to, right? He had all those incentives.
That is true. He did. The limited snaps he played, he had to make them count to reach the incentives. But goodness gracious, he was a force.
Yeah, he played almost the entire game in the final game of the year against the Chargers, where everyone else is on the sideline in street clothes because he needed another sack.
He's just had to get that one more.
Yeah. Tim Hasselback doesn't sure that Russell Wilson has a future in the NFL. Evan Cohen, co-host of Unsportsmanlike, says Wilson is clearly a starter.
I think there's a long way between Russell Wilson's play from this past season and being out of the NFL. I don't know if he's a quarterback that a contending team is going to want on their roster. I don't know if he's still
he
that
didn't
kind
play.
of.
I mean, he didn't play bad.
He didn't play bad at all, and that's my thing. Like, he's still probably around the 20th best quarterback there for a team, and that guy usually gets a job. I mean, until Jimmy Garoppolo got into trouble for some PEDs, he was on the Raiders roster, and I think you got to think Russell Wilson's at least as good as he is.
But it's going to be hard to sell it to your fan base, right?
That's the big thing.
Okay, we brought in our quarterback. It's Russell, and it's not Russell Wilson's fault. I mean, the Broncos gave him that contract. He said yes.
It's hard to say. I hate the guy for saying yes to the contract, and a big selling point to a new team, if he does go to a new team, has to be, well, we're not paying all of that contract, because Denver's not getting fully off the bill for any trade is going to involve them swallowing a big chunk of that change.
Okay, and the call yesterday, I think that's on Fox. After I watched, it took 45 minutes for the last 8 laps to be run. As I was heading right along on schedule, and William Byron, number 24, the old Rainbow Warrior car, wins the Daytona 500. And number 48 was second, Jimmy Johnson. But Jimmy Johnson was in another car, and he wrecked early in the race. He was out. And the race ended just like it always does. Looked like, a used car lot because everybody crashed.
It's good place to get parts.
I guess maybe in the first row. So the Daytona 500 was yesterday. All right. High school basketball tonight. Are you going with Hesh?
I don't want to cramp him and Gene Manweiler in there on their broadcast table.
Our budget for food doesn't allow him to go with us.
That's the big part.
Just take him someplace where they serve cheese.
Well, they won't.
And he's out.
Well, they don't want to do Casey's Pizza either. See, that's the hard part. Him and Gene don't want to do Casey's Pizza, but then if you throw me into an actual restaurant, it gets too pricey.
They've got a Casey's now in Hillsboro.
Do they really?
Ooh, yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, when you come in, going into the school, you'll see it when you come into town. It's over there by where the old Baskin Robbins ice cream plant used to be.
That's how you know a town's on the upswing. They're getting a Casey's in there.
Sonic,
Casey's.
Sonic out on the corner. Yeah.
It's a lot of options there. You could get a little bit of pizza, get a little Sonic drink, be on your merry way.
Hesh, I mean, you can just kind of drive around town, man. That was my home for 5 years. I had a year of sabbatical in the oil field too. But
is that the Sonic where you guys pulled up with Blake and they would not offer him food? Because
no, that was in Lyons.
Oh, that was in Lyons.
No, they didn't have a Sonic. The only thing they had in Hillsboro when I was in school, there was a Pizza Hut in Darien.
Okay.
Yeah.
What more do you need?
It was weird too. It was a small town like that, so there's nothing to do. So all they do was eat. And these freshman girls would come in, and it'd be like a butterfly. A caterpillar goes into a cocoon, and then over the wintertime, they just ate at the Pizza Hut, and they came out, and then they were a bigger version of themselves in the spring. Only in Hillsboro. The Darriette was amazing too.
So we could get some bags of milk, or
your island over there just got a little. We're
I thought I dug holes, man.
What hole did I dig? I'm just saying what is reality. That's what happened. There's no place to eat except the cafeteria where they have starchy foods and the Pizza Hut. Whatever. It's winter in Hillsboro, yeah. You come back and put on a few pounds over the wintertime. Golly, you guys. Whoa, I can't believe it. Hesh, if you want to see where I spent the most time in my college, just continue out on Highway 56, and you will first see French Creek Cove, and then you'll see Hillsboro Cove out at.
And it was Hillsboro Cove, right?
Well, French Creek Cove. It was,
okay.
Both places saw plenty of time.
I'm sure that's on the top of our list.
I know it is. Okay, so anyway, you're going to Hillsboro tonight.
Correct.
Hillsboro girls have like a 6'2" point guard.
Yeah, they've lost one game.
Yeah.
And it was the Smoky Valley, so.
They're losing a second tonight.
Smoky Valley beat them?
Smoky Valley beat them by a point, yeah. That's kind
of. Well, you're in the ballpark.
A little bit of a prospect there.
Okay, that game's on 100.7 Eagle Country tonight. I like this way Aaron typed it, GW and BT. It's GW and BT on the call.
G-Dub and BT is how I say it in my head.
Oh, G-Dub, yeah. Gary Wagner and Buddy Tabler in Haven tonight. There's some food options on the way back through Hutchinson. Yeah.
Not a bad night.
Take a hit tonight. This is an interesting game. The Haven girls against Larned. We were talking yesterday. Larned, they could come up through that sub-state. Surprise. Who knows? We'll kind of get a feel for it. And Larned coming in here tomorrow, Jared Smith, and a few of his players. I'm not going to tell you, Corson, on how many he's bringing over tomorrow because I know you'll get chapped. Games in the Western Athletic Conference tonight. Hayes High can wrap it up on boys and girls side. WAC titles. They host Dodge City. Garden City's at Liberal. Minneapolis at Ellenwood tonight. Central Plains at Little River. Hodgman County at Maxville. Lacrosse at Kinsley. Stafford home tonight. They will take on Pretty Prairie. So there's some 1A schools wrapping up the regular season. They jump right into sub-state play on Thursday unless you get a first-round bye. Barton baseball winning yesterday. They sweep Western Nebraska. And all these were pretty good ball games. Barton wins the first game by the score of 4-1. They come back, win game 2, 8-5. Barton now 6-1 on the season. Back in action Friday. They'll be in Kansas City to take on KCK. And Barton softball had a weekend matchup with NOC Tonkawa canceled. However, the Lady Cougs 2-4 on the young season. So there you go. Sports headlines. Did you find anything?
I did.
Vince Lee.
So background, Sports in Kansas on Facebook is posted all month.
It's pretty cool.
Who was the best boy and girl athlete at a particular school? We've been waiting for the area schools, but another big one was Pratt Skyline. So I looked at it the other day, and I saw your girl, Carrie Jones, on there.
Absolutely.
But I was shocked with a bombshell when I walked in today. So you took my laugh as offensive, but it was just funny.
You laughed.
You got 3 likes. You're on the top. It's not even a top 10. It's a top 5. You're one of the top 5.
So what's so funny about that? I'm sorry I got
sore
sore a little bit. I wasn't expecting to even get on there.
Yeah, I don't know anybody. I read all these things, and I don't know anybody, and I walk into you're the GOAT on the radio, and evidently you're a top 5 athlete at Skyline.
No.
But got 3 likes.
Well, that's good.
Carrie Jones was.
But am I even close? No, let's see. Craig Pritchett would probably be one. Let's see. Ronnie Peaster would be right up there.
We got Easton Burgart.
Who?
Mike Hamey.
Mike Hamey, yeah. Hamey's at Pratt High now.
The Fisher Boys. Brooke Carson. Lisa Kenworthy Beffert.
Good 200 runner.
But yeah, Carrie Jones, you've talked about her multiple times.
You even got on there. You tried to see. You jump on there and try to act like you're a believer, even though you don't give Carrie Jones any ink at all, and she's not that far away. And you go on there and say, "Oh, I really heard we talk about her on the radio a lot."
I will admit, previous to meeting Steve Webster, I had not heard of Carrie Jones.
Come on, Mr. Catch at Kansas.
She's in the
Kansas Sports Hall of Fame.
I had to go Google the basketball leading scorer the other day. Who was it? I don't even remember her name 3 days later. The gal, Caitlin Clark, broke the NCAA record, but she did not break the basketball record.
Lynette Woodard?
No.
No, there's even one.
It was
better.
that one. It was from the 70s.
Yeah, she still got to get that. That was an NAI record there, but okay.
Well,
No, I'm sorry I got sore the way you laughed. It was like, all right, Corson, what list are you on? At least I got one mention and a like. Even
I was just making sure it wasn't Deb or somebody, Gary Wagner, who got on there and was feeling mischievous.
Deb Webb doesn't presume to know the best athletes at Pratt Skyline. She's more of a junkyard frog kind of gal herself.
All right, so Carrie Jones, I got the tabletop hockey game. I mean, I couldn't be stopped, one, because I had it all the time, so no one else got to play it. I never got beat until Carrie Jones beat me.
She could do it all.
Yeah, like in 8th grade.
Athlete.
Handed me my first loss ever, and then 2 weeks later broke up with me. Talking about kicking dirt on somebody after they're already down.
Another fold to the legacy of Carrie Jones, though, on this program.
She went for the guy she couldn't beat at table hockey.
That's what was on the line. You just didn't know it. She was like, I beat him in table hockey. It just was noodling around in her brain for 2 weeks.
I just let her win just so she'd like me better, and that ended up the reason why she kicked me to the curb. Cole Reif coming up next. We've got Wyatt Thompson on the way as well here on Sports Day.
Join Barton Community College in the eccentric adventure Caractacus Pods for an unforgettable adventure filled with flying cars, family fun, and laughter. Barton Theater presents Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Experience the magic of this timeless musical brought to life on stage, with multiple showings starting February 29th and running through March 3rd. Bring the whole family and let your imagination soar. For more information, visit shows.bartonccc.edu.
Venture Corporation is a homegrown company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction, and they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
Marmy Auto Group makes it happen. Central and Western Kansas. Check out our selection of new and pre-owned inventory. Marmy's friendly staff offers top quality service that you've gotten to know over the years. When your existing vehicle needs parts or service, our experienced team will get you back in the game this season. Marmy Chevrolet, GMC, Ford and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep Ram, parts, service, and body shop. Visit Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street or marmys.net. Marmys make it happen.
He's the voice of Hoisington High School football, the Barton County Cougars, and the king of the tweeter machine. It's Cole Reif on Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Cole Reif joining us on the show. Them other guys scrammed out of here like this.
This is a sinking ship, you said.
Oh, gee, Christmas. You just got to tell things the way they are, Cole.
I have found out in my lifetime, whether it's on the air or just in my personal life, there's just certain words that can never go together in the same sentence.
What'd I use?
Well, two of them are involving women and weight. Like those two, like they don't get discussed. There's a reason why, if you look at a roster for girls basketball, they don't have the weights on there, Webby. Like, I mean, that should be a clear indicator to you. Like, there's just certain.
So does it bother you that
taboo.
the weights have come out on wrestling now? Oh. I never thought I'd saw that. I mean, what was you got? Maybe you got small, extra small.
Yeah, how about someday they're just gonna have, like, instead of like the 141 weight class, it's gonna be weight class B, and then weight class D, C, E, like whatever. They're gonna list them by letters instead of the actual number.
I guess I should have prefaced there was a lot of males in Hillsboro that got fat.
Yeah, why don't you? Yeah,
because,
that's where I always go.
Okay,
just
right.
use the guy. Guys don't care if you call them fat or tubby or chunky. It doesn't matter.
I didn't say any names. I didn't do it. Okay.
Bring the tape back, Cash.
I sat there yesterday and it kept clicking to see if the new rankings would come up. Of course, then I didn't realize that it was Veterans Day, the same way I didn't realize that they did City Council, President's Day, Veterans Day, the other days that I don't get off. But then I should have thought, well, okay, why don't you see if South Texas lost, then you'll see where Barton's ranked. I didn't do that, so South Plains won, so Barton's going to stay at number 2.
Yeah, South Plains got like a 3-game road trip. Man, you talk about following the team. I feel like I have that team.
I know.
I feel like I'm well prepped if Barton ever plays South Plains. But they have a 3-game stretch right now where they played Clarendon last night at Clarendon, and it wasn't overly close. And then they play at Howard coming up, I think, Thursday. And then they have a game at Frank Phillips. And then they have 2 home games, which will be their 2 toughest tests, but they'll play Odessa and they'll play Midland for a second time.
Who they beat by 1 point a couple weeks ago, back-to-back nights. Okay.
Yeah, so those will be the big challenges. But yeah, South Plains continues to home, and they look good. We talked about, they probably have the top JUCO recruits in the country this year. Yeah, they're solid. So yeah, firmly at number 2, I would imagine, when that poll comes out. They're starting to release them, but usually they start with the Division III teams, Division II, and then the Division I. So you'll probably find out here in about I don't know, maybe an hour or so.
I don't know. It's maybe they threw them off. Maybe they get 2 days off for Veterans Day the other day that I don't get off. Yeah, President's Day. Okay, so I'm flip on the radio Saturday, and it's halftime. And you've just come back and you're starting to talk about the first half, and you said Coffeyville threw down 9 3-pointers. I said, oh, man. And then and Barton's leading by 10.
Crazy.
That's like some guy, boxing, he comes back, and he just rears back as hard as he can, and he hits you in the face, and you don't even move. You just say, hit me. And it doesn't budge, and Barton's up by 10 at halftime. Despite on someone's home floor, they've got 9 3-pointers on you, and you're still up by 10.
Yeah, I mean, 9's pretty good for a full game. Like, I would take 9 if you're going to say, hey, we're going to make 9 in a game, but to make 9.5,
you think Barton would be in trouble?
Oh, yeah, easily.
No, not this team.
That's kind of how it's gone with Coffeyville. If you look at the previous game, I think Coffeyville, I don't know the exact numbers, but they outshot Barton percentage-wise. They hit more threes, and they also out-rebounded them in that first matchup. And it was just like, well, what did Barton do so well? In that first game in Great Bend, they got to the free throw line a ton. Coffeyville had 20-plus fouls, and Barton shot like 34 free throws. This one, they dominated the paint. Barton outscored Coffeyville 26-2 in points of the paint. I think there were 10 dunks in that game. Jones had probably 3 or 4 dunks.
Ajay was doing chin-ups the entire game. It was just like he's doing exercise.
He was on something Saturday. I don't know what was said to him or what motivated him, but he's played. Obviously, he's been stellar all season long, but he was on something Saturday. Like, he looked possessed. Like, he was strong, finishing everything at the rim with a dunk. Like, it was just whew.
Yeah, some nice dunk calls in the can too, man.
There was like 10 of them to choose from. So I'm like, you talk about getting practice on your dunk calls. Like, I feel like I've gotten a lot of practice this year on big dunk calls. Because usually it'd be like, it's junior college ball, you're going to get dunks, but usually you might get 1 or 2. Like, maybe one from the other team, and you can't really sell that one very much.
Yeah.
And then you might get one yourself. But man, this year is like, I don't know. I'd like to go back in the averages. I bet Barton averages 4.5 dunks a game.
The only coach I ever knew that kept track of dunks was Dan McGovern. He had as part of his stat sheet back there, and it wasn't the usual that they have. It used to be Statman, and now they've got the new stat program. They didn't have dunks. Yeah, he had it. Yeah, Curtis Hammocky was the sports information director, and that was part of the thing McGovern had him keep track of was dunks. So that would be. Speaking of milestones, when you have a great year like this, and Barton's rolling right now. Then you start seeing some other things come into play, like season records. And Barton's closing in on a whole bunch of them right now.
Yeah, you're talking about overall records as far as where they're at?
Individual records, things like this. And that's what happens when you have a great year.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. Obviously they have that 99-2000 team. That's going to set a lot of the marks as far as wins because they started out 31-1. And you look back at those teams, there are teams that went, like that team, they didn't even make it to the national tournament because you had to win the Region 6. You could go undefeated, and then if you stumbled in that Region 6 tournament, you didn't make the tourney back then. So it's just remarkable how many good teams during that stretch of the 90s and early 2000s for Barton that didn't make it to the national tournament.
What's the school record for wins consecutive? 29?
28 or 29.
Because 29 was Jackie Jones.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they lost, and then they lost, and they didn't go to the national tournament either.
Yeah, just remarkable, like how good those teams were. We talked about this. I would love to see it go to like 32. Although the nice thing is they did expand the tournament by days. So instead of usually starting up the national tournament on a Monday at 10 o'clock, it's going to start up at 10 o'clock on Sunday. So they add one extra day, which is nice. I would like to see it extended even more, but you're probably not going to get any more.
Okay, so I'll talk to Jeremy Combs. We talked to the boys about it yesterday because Jeremy mentioned it on a post-game show. Yeah, we got to keep the edge. Okay, what is an edge? And the other one is how do you keep it, especially when you're playing so well at this time of the year?
I think the edge for them, for Barton all season long, has just been locked in on a mission. I've never seen a team as dedicated to accomplishing a goal than this team. And it's not to say that, they can't be taken down. There's a lot of good talent. We talked about how top-heavy the league is this year. They can lose, but I've never seen a team as locked in as this Barton team is. And then when you combine that with the individual talent that you have, a team that plays well together, especially at the junior college level, is huge. All those things mixed together, kind of gives you that edge each and every night out there. And then they realize the bullseye. I mean, the bullseye's been on them since probably December. I mean, they're, well ranked in December, and obviously it's continued to climb up to number 2. But so they're used to that, and I think they get a lot of satisfaction going out there and quieting teams that are out there to, knock off that big dog. So I think they get a lot of satisfaction in that. So as far as keeping the edge, I don't really worry about it with this team anymore. Like, before, we always talked about waiting for that stinker, right? But it might come, but at the same time, this team is not going to be because of lack of energy or lack of focus, or oh man, his head's in the clouds, or he's daydreaming, or his girlfriend just dumped him or whatever. He's not going to have those bad games. I don't worry about that. If it's going to happen, it might maybe catch him on a bad shooting night. But then they score so well in the paint. They've dominated the paint this year, so you don't worry about a cold shooting night. Maybe if someone gets hot, but then again, Coffeyville hit 14 threes and it still wasn't enough. No. Giving up 87 points, that was the most Barton has given up all season long. Previous was 80 against Cali back in November. So, they don't give up. Coffeyville put up 87 on them, and it wasn't enough. So, I don't worry about them losing any type of edge anytime soon.
Okay, Barton women, that's a tough one. Score 42 points, get beat 62-42. Butler loses to Hutchinson, so you're still there at the number 3 position, which I'd rather be there than 4 or 5, if you're looking for the postseason. But, hopefully you get to play Hutch anyway.
Yeah, you talk about stinkers, and that was one of them Saturday. They're down. Barton was down by 1 at halftime. He felt okay. That's fine. We're okay. And then third quarter came out and just got blitzed. And that one I just completely. I think I mentioned a couple times on the broadcast. Tip your hat to Tony Turner. I thought that was a phenomenal coaching job of what he did against Barton. And
what did he do?
Well, the weird thing was last year. And I brought this up to Alan, talking to him on the bench in Coffeyville Saturday, was Coffeyville was the first team last year to figure out a solution to slow down Jenny Kim Woombsy. Essentially a double, but just the way that their rotations worked, it just never seemed like they lost a step, even with the double. So they were able to take out Jenny last year, and I brought that up to Alan. I was hey, second time, you got to imagine they're going to have something different. Oh, yeah, and he talked to me, about things that they're going to do different. It never dawned on me because I was like, man, there's Vivian and Vera. How are you going to take out both of them? But, man, they had the recipe. So now, the scary thing for me, the blueprint is out there. Yeah. Is how do you slow down Barton and those 2 post players? But, man, it just felt like they had 6 or 7 girls out there because they would double, and then the pass, it's got to come out quicker on a double. If you get double team and you don't have anything, you can't split it, the pass has got to be quick and crisp so you can find that open person. But when it's slow and you're just kind of stuck there and then you make a kind of a soft lobbing pass back out to the wing, you don't get anything from it. You don't take advantage of it. And then that put a lot of pressure on the guards, hit threes, and they went 4 for 27 from outside. Just wasn't a whole lot of production out there. So all that, you score 42 points. You hold them to 62. That's probably okay. But to only score 42, you're going to be in problems.
Okay, Garden City Saturday. Down to we've got 4 games now?
4 games, yeah. 2 at home, 2 on the road. So you got Garden City coming in Saturday, then you go to Dodge, and then back at home a week from Saturday against Hutchinson. Then you close it out with that Monday night game against Colby on the road. Good games coming up. You talk on the men's side. Garden City, I think, is one of the toughest matchups for Barton. And not to say who knows what's going to happen this Saturday, but I thought that was a really good team that they saw back in mid-January. Those 2 guards are as good as anybody in the league. Dodge City on the men's side, they've had their struggles, lost an overtime game against Northwest Tech this past weekend, but that's going to be kind of their backs against the wall. They're looking for a quality win. They'll be on their home floor and trying to stay in that top 8, so they'll be kind of desperate coming into that matchup. Hutchinson obviously is really good. Beautiful loss, though, for Barton, dropping that game to Butler. That helped out a lot. Now you got that 2-game lead. But, obviously Hutchinson's going to come in well-coached, a lot of talent, big-time matchup there. And then Colby, Colby has had their struggles this year, but it's on the road. It's a Monday night, so it's a quick turnaround, just a 2-day switch before you hit them again to close out the regular season. So, no gimmies, I don't think, by any means, but still, that eye on the prize right now. Try to finish strong and get yourself in a good position.
Is everybody else, because everyone else is playing on Wednesday, that
Colby Event Center is hosting one of the classifications for high school state tournament. So they had that state tournament that week, so it wouldn't be available on Wednesday. So
kind of like that.
They bumped up the game to Monday. Yeah, I don't have any problem with that.
Exactly. Cole, appreciate it. You can, on the way out, just go ahead and tell the Munchkins hiding over there in the green room it's safe to come out, okay?
All right, just make sure you keep those weight limits down, all right, guys?
Okay. Cole Reif, voice of the Barton Cougars, joining us on the show today. Brought to you in part by Advanced Therapy and Sports Medicine. Get your life back. Also by Venture Corporation, reminding you to help a neighbor, shop local when you can, and Equity Bank. We're right here beside you, equitybank.com. Wyatt Thompson, voice of the Kansas State Wildcats, is next.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Reif, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Want to graduate a little sooner? Take online courses with Barton Online and transfer seamlessly to your university of choice without all the hassle. We have 6-week and 8-week sessions starting in February and March. Save tons of time and money and get ahead by taking courses at Barton and transferring your credits. Now enrolling for both sessions. Get started at online.bartoncccc.edu.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Welcome back. Sports Day brought to you in part by Eller Automotive Repair, a local mechanic that can help. Behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Kansas State Wildcats, joins us here on the program. Last night, Wyatt was in Austin, Texas, where the Cats lose to the Texas Longhorns 62-56. Wyatt, I appreciate you being on the show again today. And so what is harder, a trip back from Austin, Texas, where you fly and you lay your head down about 2:30, or a trip to Kearney, Nebraska, when you come back the same night, or maybe even Wayne, Nebraska the same night, and you got to get up the next day? Which one's tougher?
That's a really good question. I would probably say, in reality, if I'm being honest, I think those whole CSIC trips, buddy.
Yeah.
I think we're a little bit longer. You drove everywhere. It's just kind of what it was. We're pretty spoiled. You know, I get asked about the travel a lot, and yeah, I didn't go to bed last night till about 2:30, and I was up and going again at about 7 o'clock. But I've had days where when we went to Provo, you know, I didn't get to bed till about 4 o'clock and was going at about 6:30. So even with that said, I remember driving to places like Drury College for a game when I was at Fort Hays State and things like that.
Yeah.
That seemed a lot more tedious to me then. Do you think it was?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You had to go and read the sports the next morning. That was, you know.
Well, here's how easy we have it. I mean this sincerely. We have a parking spot, you won't believe this, last night at the Moody Center, where we go down the tunnel and we park just adjacent from the arena, below ground, okay? We walk maybe 100 steps to my broadcast location. We get back in that vehicle, go to the airport, go from the tarmac right to the plane, and fly here. And then I jump in my car, and in 15 minutes I'm home. That isn't as hard as you might think.
No,
it's pretty simple. Yeah.
It's not like dragging equipment up into the second deck of the press box at Wayne, Nebraska, through that little
Yes, sir.
Remember that hole up there, and then you had to like throw your stuff up there, and then go ahead and climb up the wooden ladder. So
yeah, and I remember one years ago going to Wayne where I've been, knock on wood, I've been very fortunate health-wise, but there was a game that I did up there one year where I was not feeling very well, and, you just have to kind of fight your way through it. But, man, that was a long day. I made it work, but it was far from what I would describe as my best work, that's for sure.
I did a basketball game in Wayne on a Friday night, and then for some reason they had a game scheduled in Chadron, Nebraska the next night. The one thing I can say about that highway that goes all the way across Nebraska, I've been to Valentine. So I just want you to know that. So Wyatt Thompson joining us, former voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers and the Ellenwood Eagles, of course. We always have to mention that here on the program.
Amen.
Okay, 62-56, another close call for K-State, but man, to hold the Longhorns to 62, K-State gets 56. Where's this Wildcat basketball team at right now?
Well, it's a great question because I think what I would say is it's the same book, just a different chapter last night, in that you play good enough defense to win, but probably not good enough offensively, and they continue to struggle with things like turnovers, with stretches of 4 to 5 to 6 to 8 minutes where they just don't play very good offensive basketball. And then sometimes it's just as simple as you get good shots and you don't really make very many. I think that was one of the real big things last night. They ended up getting about their normal average on turnovers, and I think if I'm being honest, I think they just kind of said, okay, that's about where we're going to be game in and game out because we're so far into this. But they also turn over people, so that probably evens out. Where it doesn't even out is you get consistently beat, on the glass, although they did have recently a 3-game stretch where they did well there, including the KU game. But again, it's as simple as those stretches where you're not scoring and or shooting in the middle 30s, and both of those things happened last night, and it's hard to beat good teams like Texas at their place when that happens.
Okay, the Big 12 this year, and we're talking about the league, and it's kind of a weird league race. No one plays everybody twice, and there's 14 teams in there. I mean, you could be down at the bottom, you're 2 games out. What's the feel of the Big 12 now, Wyatt? You've been there since, we've been here for a while. So what's it like in this new league?
Well, it is different, Webby, to be honest about it. I'm not going to kid you. I miss the double round robin in basketball and playing everybody in football. I just thought that was such a great way to do it and crown a real champion, so to speak. This is a little bit different in that, and I'll be blunt, if you go and you compare schedules, I would say the Kansas schedule, as an example, is probably a little bit harder home and road than, say, maybe a Houston or an Iowa State. So it's hard to balance it out. But with that said, it's been a lot of fun covering the league because I think the quality is good. I just described or tried to, K-State's flaws, but they're not that much different than most of the other teams in this league.
Yeah.
I think you do have Houston at the top because of their elite defense, and I think Iowa State's really good. I think they proved that last night, even in defeat at Houston. On any given day, KU can beat anybody. They beat Connecticut early in the year, and everybody says they're by far the best team. I think you've got a Tech team and a Baylor team and a Texas team and a lot of those kind of teams that on a given night at optimum level, they're really good. And I think top to bottom, these teams have all gotten more veteran because of the portal, and it just makes the league harder. Everybody guards. Everybody knows what you're doing. There's a couple, 2 or 3 teams that are probably better than everybody else, but after that, there's not a nickel's worth of difference in them in my mind.
Okay, next year we welcome in, 4 more, and then see 2 go. It's going to be even different next year without Texas and Oklahoma in the league, and you bring in people, Arizona State, Utah. I mean, it's completely different.
It'll be fun having Colorado back, I think.
Yeah.
At least for most. I've been one that, because of my jobs previously being in the Mountain West, I've had some familiarity with BYU and with Utah. They're good programs, Webby, and I think we've seen that this year, whether it's football or men's basketball. And I think you'll continue to see it as they recruit not only to BYU and Utah, but to the Big 12. Especially in BYU's case, maybe more so than Utah. Recruiting to the Pac-12 was pretty good for a long, long time, right? Yeah. And I still can't believe that has happened, honestly. But it is what it is, and you move on. But I really think the league will be strong. They're not going to replace, in terms of the brand, those programs like Texas and Oklahoma. But I do think the strength of the league in basketball and football, probably underrated in football would be the way to say it. And I don't think you can say anything other than it's going to be the best basketball league in the country. You're just adding 4 pretty darn good programs on top of what you got here, minus Texas and Oklahoma. That's pretty legit.
Will we see divisions come back to the Big 12 in football and basketball?
I don't think so. And I know a lot of people would be for that. But I think right now and I'll be honest with you, we could talk about this every day on your show for the next year probably. I don't think the volatility in college athletics is anywhere close to being done yet. I think we're going to see more movement. Who knows what's going to happen, as an example, with the Atlantic Coast Conference. I'm hearing things almost daily that, the SEC wants these teams and the Big Ten wants these teams and the Big 12 will get these teams. And I don't know if that will happen, but if I'm a betting man, I would say, there's a pretty good chance of it because you've got so many people unhappy with the landscape, and it all starts with Florida State, right? So we're not done, and there's so much going on now with what I will describe as, all of the CFP changes. The NCAA has virtually no power now, so there's a lot. You've got name, image, likeness, transfer portal. Like I say, we could talk about this all day and every day for the next year and probably not cover it all.
So, you look where the Big 12's been. I mean, it looked like it was on the verge of destruction. Other people coming into our yard to pick the apples off our tree. Then Brett Yormark comes, and all of a sudden, the Big 12's picking apples off people's trees in their yard. What did Brett Yormark save the league?
Well, I think you can certainly make that argument, and probably because of just the way it played out and his aggression, the league got a television deal done. It's not perfect. It's not the greatest television deal, but it was a TV deal when I think the league needed more stability, more years added to that, and so on and so forth, and still kept what I'll describe as the 2 big boys with college football, and that's ESPN and Fox. You can survive somewhere else, but I think most of us live in that realm. I'm sure you would agree with that. So I think from that perspective, you bet you could make an argument that he was very aggressive, probably rolled the dice a little bit, but it certainly worked out really well because, as I said, the ACC is where it is because their deal was probably too long and not matching others in terms of total dollars taken per school, per conference. And then what we saw with what happened with the gutting of the Pac-12 is just inexcusable to me in terms of leadership. I can't believe that between Larry Scott and George Kliavkoff, they've ruined that league. They did. I don't know how. To me, it's debatable.
Wyatt Thompson with us right now. The changes in college athletics are amazing. And, as a play-by-play guy, you watch kids come in, you maybe see him down there. Who's that kid? Oh, yeah, he's a gray shirt. No, he's red shirting this year, and you watch him come up through the program. And now you do that, and you come down there, well, who's that guy? Well, he just transferred in. And on your flip chart, you'd always have, this guy, this is a high school he went to. Now you've got maybe the high school and then the other two schools that he's already been to. The transfer portal, I've tried to just throw everything out and just enjoy it for what it is, but, man, it is a lot different and still a lot more to get used to with college athletics.
Yeah, and somewhere along the line, I think we need to rein it back in, and I think it's also the right thing to say about name, image, likeness, but the real question is, it needs to be done, but the question is, can we do it? And I think there are many in the industry that are probably a lot smarter than I am that say probably not. Will there be some regulations in spots or as we go? Yeah, probably. This name, image, likeness thing is as simple as this from my perspective. I think we went forever, and the athletes probably were not given what they they had due to them, coming to them. And now they've gone so far beyond what the hope was for the thing, and with lawsuits and all of those kind of deals. Now it's become, in just a little over a couple of years, pay for play. And if you can't afford to go out there and pay for players, you're not going to compete. It's hard enough competing anyway for most of us with the SEC and the Big Ten from a money perspective. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. Will they survive? Probably so. I'm not one that believes that, even though I think the TV people would like to have their 50-ish teams and the heck with everybody else, I don't think they can do it that way. I just don't. I think there's always going to be a place, because of the good fan bases, the good just product they put on the field, the K-States, the KUs, the Iowa States, the Texas Techs. College athletics needs those. OSU, there's so many good fan bases in our league. I think, and the product is good. Whether you look at the numbers, people want to say this and that about the Big Ten and the SEC, but the college basketball numbers right now are better with the Big 12, and they don't have as many. They're more on ESPN Plus sometimes than they are on ESPN2 or the U. That's a fact of life.
Okay, K-State has a consortium, correct? Is that the right word for it? You're going to pay players. Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Okay, but a lot of the money that comes in there is probably funneled there through donors, correct? I would think, right?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so then you have all these building projects going on, and those are probably funded by donors, right? So
no question. And TV dollars.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you pay the players, or you pay for? Or pay for the other gigantic stadium? There's only so much money to go around, I would think. I don't know.
Well, that's totally accurate. One thing I will say that I think K-State has going for it, and that is as simple as this. The current regime of Gene Taylor, prior to that with John Curry, they had done such an exceptional job in upgrading K-State's athletic facilities that there isn't the need there now, currently. There will be again down the road, but not now, where you can maybe funnel more of your thoughts and efforts towards the name, image, likeness stuff. So that is a good thing. Not everybody is in that same realm, but I'll give you an example of in our league with, say, Baylor and TCU. Basically, both of those institutions are, church-based. Mm-hmm. They have lots of endowed money. They're not hurting for money. They have excellent facilities and will continue to pay coaches at a high level and pay players and all of that. But there are some that it's going to be tougher for. And that's, we're talking about a pretty wild and wide playing field of differences, I think, is the real concern in athletics right now.
Wyatt, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate the time you give us. And, I was asking about Wayne, Nebraska and driving back. Mike Hesher, the Hall of Fame manager on those national championship games in the mid-1980s. He was shaking his head just as you were talking about it, too. So, hey,
there's still a part of me, Webby, and always will be about. There was just something special about that, don't you think? I mean, that was a good. I loved that time. Yeah, the trips were hard, but the games were great. The coaches and the players were great. The up way outweighed the down, right? No doubt about that.
Yeah,
I loved it.
But I didn't have to pack everybody's clothes off and, take Raymond Lee's and Edgar Eason's bags in after the game.
Well, I didn't have to either, but getting home from Wayne, Nebraska on a Sunday morning at 7 a.m. was not pretty.
No, that's a fair statement. Yeah.
We didn't.
No, okay, not for basketball. Okay, hey, Wyatt, we've got to run. Thanks so much for your time, and we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Yes, sir, partner. Great talking to you, my bud.
All right,
Thank
Wyatt Thompson here with us on Sports Day.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
Are you unhappy with your current wireless provider? Well, what are you waiting for? Make the switch to Nextech Wireless. Not only will you get great service and the latest devices, but when you bring your number to us, you pay nothing down. That's right. The taxes and activation fee are on us.
Certain restrictions apply.
Nextech Wireless.
Home on the range.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
I had a young gal come in the other day who has been having chronic back pain. Did a session just helping her to understand her pain, not understanding her back, but teaching her how her nervous system works. And just that knowledge just calmed her down so much. She came back in this morning, huge smile on her face, and she was so excited to learn more. It was a blast.
Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Amy Herrera, Regional Retail Manager for your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many people navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you how we're committed to serving you in our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Extend the life of your equipment with the best warranty program and risk management tool in the agriculture industry. The Cenex Total Protection Plan covers new and used equipment. Receive up to 10 years or 10,000 hours of engine coverage when you use Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster premium diesel fuel and synthetic lubricants. With no deductible, the Cenex Total Protection Plan provides unmatched coverage to give you the power you need to keep your business running like a well-oiled machine.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor, today.
Now, in its second decade, it's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Yeah, Sports Day brought to you in part by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend and the Great Bend Co-op Bulk Fuel Department. Your certified Cenex lubricant dealer in Great Bend. Thanks to Wyatt Thompson for again coming on the show again. Just about as nice a guy as you'll ever want to meet. Hesh, that bring up some old memories. You ever in the press box at Wayne, Nebraska?
Yes, but there are some memories I can't discuss about, so. Especially in Wayne, Nebraska.
Wayne, Nebraska, yeah.
What, town of about 4,000? So people can have an idea how big it was.
And they were orange and they were yellow and black too. Or was it yellow and black league?
Yes, it was. Missouri Western.
Yeah, you had a